Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our first talk of the day. We have with us here the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series. Welcome to the much-awaited prize-giving ceremony. Today, we gather to celebrate the remarkable achievements and dedication displayed throughout the thrilling series of events. Without further ado, let's kickstart this memorable occasion by honouring our talented sailors and teams who have demonstrated exceptional skill and sportsmanship throughout the series. Please welcome to the stage Simon Lovesey and Andy Rice.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks, Ailey, and good luck today. Great to have a gold medalist here as our compere for the RYA Dinghy Show. I'm Andy Rice. This is Simon Lovesey, and for the past 15 years, we've been organising the Sailjuice Winter Series, and I'm pleased to say for the past 5 years, it has been the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series. So, Richard, thanks for your continuing support, which was through some pretty difficult times. Of course, COVID got in the way a few years ago, but it really feels that this is the season that we got back on track again. And it was helped, I have to say, by the fact that it was quite a mild winter. Today, it's probably colder in here than it was for some of the events during the past few months. And we've also been blessed with some fantastic breeze. And the breeze had its say in the outcome of the series, which of course we will be getting to as we run through the prize giving. Simon, we've had some really good turnouts this season. How many entries did we have in total? Do you remember offhand?
Well, it was nearly 600, about 1,000 competitors, incredibly 93 classes. So we've seen the number of sailors and number of classes growing. So good growth all round.
And that's why we think that the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series is such a good fit for the RYA Dinghy Show, because it does embrace pretty much everything that you see in this room. And we were even graced with the presence of some IQ foiling windsurfers at the Tiger Trophy at Rutland. That's the first time that we've had windsurfers racing against what's predominantly a monohull dinghy circuit, but we also do have keel boats, we have some multi-hulls, and we even have some trimarans, the Challengers, although I don't know if I'm allowed to call you a trimaran or not, but there are 3 hulls, definitely not a trimaran, definitely not. But we love having you there, and you keep on coming back year after year, as do so many others, so we must be doing something right, and it's absolutely fantastic to see some of those perennial performers. I see Richard Botting there in the audience. So many of you turn out for pretty much all the events. We had 8 of those events this season, and we completed all races, which is a credit to the wind gods, but also to the clubs that put on some races in some pretty marginal conditions. And I think some have been shamed into it by David Wilkins, who never holds back. It could be Storm Force 9 and David Wilkins would still put the Tiger Trophy on. And Storm Gerrit, if you remember, back at the beginning of the year, was putting a lot of things in doubt, but some events went ahead around Christmas that in other years might not have done. So anyway, we've got a lot to get through. Simon, on to the first event.
Yep.
So we started out windy. This is the theme. Well, in fact, it was Sam Pascoe who trapezed his Musto skiff to just a single-point victory at the Farnborough Straight Dash on the 18th and 19th of November, quite a long time ago now. And the boat that he beat, they were just on the video just then. That was Tom Morris and Guy Fillmore in the RS 800. And in third place, Olympic aspirant Aaron Holman and Alex Hughes. They won the pursuit race on the Sunday, and they were third overall. And we had a diverse entry of, sailors from 11 to 76 years old, and we had 41 youth competitors. And we've struggled to see a lot of youth participation in other years. I think maybe sometimes people question the relevance of this kind of racing. Is it at all relevant to Windward Leeward in big championship racing? Well, yes, it absolutely is, because once you can do this, you can do anything. It's so much more difficult to get around a racetrack with 40 or 50 different types of boat, massive traffic jams at leeward marks. So it makes your one design racing during the summer, relatively straightforward, we believe. So that was the Draycott Dash.
Okay, so first category is the top class and top club. Great to see representative clubs and classes, and this is all about getting 3 boats out there based on the best 3 results of each class and each club across each event. So top class is again the Ilka 7s. I don't know if they've got a representative here. And top club, we had 153 clubs, mixture of sort of small, big, from all parts of the country. And the top club is Draycott Water. Okay, so while they're coming up, we'll move on to the Datchet Flyer, Andy.
So number 2 event was the Datchet Flyer. We had 92 entries at Datchet near Heathrow Airport. And this was a really, really windy one at times. Just as the second race was going into sequence, the wind was gusting nearly 40 knots, and there were more boats upside down than actually sailing. So there was a brief postponement so that the breeze could drop a little bit. So it was only in the upper 20s with gusts to 35 knots when the race actually got underway. And that is that's credit to one of our race officers, Seb Kamisuli, a 49er sailor and now into the Musto skiff. Seb is another one who doesn't like to hold back. He likes to get the racing in if possible, and that's what he managed to do. And somehow, well, me being a Musto skiff sailor, I don't quite understand how Sam Pascoe manages to wrestle one of these boats around, but it was again Sam Pascoe who won that despite some really hot competition from the likes of Imogen Wade and Hugo Valentine in the 420. They've been a big theme of this circuit this year. But again, it was Sam Pascoe for the second event running that managed to win.
Okay. Right, so the next results category is the age categories. So what we do here is actually take every race. So some people get a bit confused because the overall results are based on event results. We're taking every race. It's good to see we ran 25 races, which again is pretty much a record. We usually use 1 or 2. So the first category is where we're both youth and juniors, and they saw a combined entry of 122, which, as Andy said, is encouraging to see there. So in juniors, third was Freddie Sunderland in his Ilka 6 from Draycott. Second was James Davis and various crews in the 3000 from all the way from Shropshire. And first was Finlay Cochrane in his Laser from Yorkshire. If you could come on and get your prizes over there, that would be great. So in the youth category, third was James Davis, second was Finlay, and first was Imogen Wade and Hugo Valentine. Okay, so moving on to the 1913s group. Third was Jamie Blake in his Ilka 7, Sam Barker in the Musto skiff from Castle Cove was second, and the winner of that group was Ben Flower, which I don't think is here. The biggest category was the 31 to 60 categories, and third was Richard Botting. I've seen him in a blaze. Second was Luke Fisher in his RS Vario, and the winner was Sam Pascoe in his Musco skiff. And the final age category is the Masters, 93 entries here. In third place was Duncan Greenhow in his Challenger, all the way from Bassenthwaite in the Lake District. Second was Roger Blake and Jonathan Osgood, and I think other crews at time in the Osprey. I think Roger's there. And the winner was one of our old favourites, Val Millard, and the Challenger from Rutland Sailing Club. Okay, so moving forward to just after Christmas, the Brass Monkey, which always proves a good post-Christmas sort of event.
So the Yorkshire Dales Brass Monkey, it's our northernmost event, and it was on the 27th of December, and this was one where Storm Garrett was predicted to maybe get in the way and maybe it wouldn't be able to go ahead, but Principal Race Officer Phil Whitehead and his team did decide to go ahead, but you can tell that the fact that it was a 420 that won both races, that it was still a pretty breezy event for the 75 entries. And it was Aaron Holman. We've already mentioned Aaron in a 470. This time he was helming a 420 with David Bromelo on the wire, and they won both races ahead of former series winner and winner of pretty much every dinghy class you can think of at the moment, Tom Gillard, in a streaker on this occasion with 2 second places, and then the Olympic campaign for Canada in the Ilka 7, Ben Flower, he was in third at the Yorkshire Dales.
Right, okay, so moving on, as you all know, we are running a sticker competition with Seldén for the best display of the stickers. Seldén were also generous in their support of the early entry process, and we had prizes and rewards for those entering more than one, and I think we had about 50 boats entering it, more than one event before Draycott Dash. And we also had a lucky draw, which is the prize bag that Richard is kindly modelling there, and that was won by Serena. Okay, so the winners of the sticker competition, this is the best display of a sticker, as you sort of see there. So for the Draycott Dash, it was, I'll just run those again, it was Dave Barker and his Hadron H2, looking very good. For the Datchet Flyer, it was Ben Bearden and Alice Carter from Yorkshire Dales in their RS200. For the Brass Monkey, it was Mia Haitley and Mona Nygaard in the RS Fever, all the way from South Staffs. Ollie Saunders and Zara Frankton from Shoestuck in the Lark, won at Graffham. Kian Shrimpton and Tom Parkhurst in the Merlin won at the Bloody Mary. Cornel LaPrince from the Craig City Academy won at King George. It was good to see about 8 of the young lads from Inner London out there competing in their old lasers. Matt Sargent and Alice Moore in the 2000 won at the Tiger Trophy. And George Vincent and Jack Mawson from Great Moor at Oxford. Okay, moving on to the Graffham Grand Prix.
So just a couple of days after the Yorkshire Dales Brass Monkey, it was on to the Gill Graffham Grand Prix. And still Storm Garrett was wreaking havoc in certain parts of the country. So would it cause problems for the Graffham Grand Prix? Well, almost, but not quite. And full credit to Graffham for going ahead again in difficult circumstances. Now, this is the only event where we don't have one big combined fleet. We have a fast, a medium, and a slow, and that's the way it's been for the past 41 editions of the Graffham Grand Prix. So in the fast fleet, guess who won? Sam Pascoe in the Musto skiff, beating a Nacra 16 sailed by Will Smith. So good to see some multi-hull participation at Graffham. In the medium handicap, well, not such a slow boat, an RS 600 sailed by George Smith, ahead of a 470 sailed by Tom Gillard, crewed by Aaron Holman. So now we've seen Aaron Holman helming a 470, helming a 420, and now crewing in a 470. So very, very adaptive and versatile sailing by Aaron Holman. And in the slow, it was Alistair Brown in the Ilka 7, beating Ben Flower on this occasion in the Ilka 7, with Luke Fisher in the RS Vario coming in third. And the leading challenger was Graham Hall, and Alex Hovden was awarded the Perseverance Prize. So well done to you, Alex. I'm not sure what the criteria are for that, but again, great to see the challengers turning out on such a regular basis for this series.
Right, okay, so we now move to some more extracted results. We basically divide the class types into 4 different types, from fast asymmetrics through to slow asymmetrics. So in the fast asymmetric group, it was Dan Vincent in a Musto skiff, Sam Barker in a Musto skiff, and surprise, surprise, Sam Pascoe. I think if your name is Sam and you say, "I'm a Musto," there's a fair chance you're going to win something. In the fast symmetrics, we had 63 entries. In third place was Will Russell in the RS 600 from Graffham Water. Second place was Chris Hatton. If you hear your name, can you please go and collect your prize over there, in the RS 300 from Bowmore. And the winner of that group, I've seen this name before, Roger Blake in the Osprey. Okay. So slow asymmetrics, we had 78 entries. It's actually a bit of a growth, this class. So in third place was James Davis. Third place was Ben Whaley and Laura Glenn in the RS200. Second was James Davis in the Laser 3000. And the winner was Luke Fisher in the RS Vario. Okay. So moving on to the slow symmetrics, this is sort of really everyone else. That made 265 entries, well over half the entries. So I think that sort of shows you where the sort of focus of UK dinghy sailing is in that big sort of group. So in third place, it was Jamie Blake in the Ilka 7 from Great Moor. Second was Imogen Wade and Hugo Valentine from Draycott Water. And the winner was Ben Flower in that group. Okay. So moving on now to the Bloody Mary.
So Sam Pascoe's won pretty much everything he's turned his hand to, but he was only second in the Bloody Mary. Oh no, hang on, that was last year's Bloody Mary. No, he did actually win this year's Bloody Mary. So phenomenal consistency. I mean, I thought it was an incredible achievement around that very reachy kind of course that you tend to get at a GJW Direct Bloody Mary. I don't think it's easy sailing a boat like the Mustoe skiff on those tight reaches, but somehow again Sam Pascoe managed to win this year's Bloody Mary ahead of Tom Gillard, this time sailing a Scorpion with Rachel Gray, and in third it was an RS400 sailed by Jack Holden and Rob Henderson, and we had 185 boats, so again pretty good turnout. We're not getting back to where it's been in the past yet, but we are definitely going in the right direction. So it's nice to see the big numbers returning this season. We had 52 classes there from 84 sailing clubs, and I think the youth numbers there, a quarter of them out of the 280 sailors, a quarter were youth, so that's also very encouraging.
Right, okay, so moving now on to extracted class rankings. When we say extracted, we're just taking the results for those particular classes. So again, the order may not quite appear, so it's like you're racing that class. This is for classes that get 10 entries plus. We saw an increase with 18. The 2000 class managed to round up 10 for Rutland, so well done there. And class chairman Mike McEwing and Alex Wilby take their prize. The 420s, we saw 24 entries, and there's a big growth there. Imogen and Hugo won that one. Ilka 7s, 33 entries, Ben Flower. Ilka 6s, Finley Cochrane, top junior sailor in the Ilka 6 won that. Ilka 4s, Deliria Sawyer from Draycott. Merlins, we had 14 entries there. Kieran Shrimpton and Andrew Shrimpton in the, you might remember them in that yellow boat winning the picture competition. Mustoe skiffs saw 11 boats. I think the Mustoe skiffs were using this as a big training session, weren't they, for the Worlds, Andy?
Yeah, we've got a Worlds coming up at Weymouth and Portland later on this year, and I think that's partly why we saw them out in such good force. It does seem like World Championships and big events focus the mind.
Yeah. So Sam Pascoe won that, not surprisingly. In the Phantoms, we had 11 entries, and that was Rob Cook from Northampton Sailing Club. Thievers, we saw a good entry of 12, and again, we're looking to encourage those junior sort of classes. That was Mia and Mona from South Staffs. The RS200 was the biggest class. They had 49 entries, so very competitive class, and great to see them out in numbers. And that was Ben Whaley and Lorna Glenn from Parkstone Yacht Club. RS300s, Chris Hatton from Bowmore. RS400s was Chris, and I think it's, Karen Lahr, but I've seen pictures of Abigail. I think he got the whole family out, so well done there, Chris. You win the family prize. RS600 was Will Russell from Grafton Water. RS800 was Tom Morris, I think we've seen them before. Scorpions, again, good to see them coming back in numbers, 11 of those. Dave Wade and Ben Rayner from Draycott. I think I've seen Dave around. Solo was Chris Bunn from Lady Yacht Club. I think that's over the east way. And the toppers, big entry there. We had Clive Jackson from Dorchester. Okay, so moving on to the King George Gallop.
King George Gallop, one of our newer events. I think maybe this was edition 6. Really, really close finish. So close that initially it looked like Dan Vincent in a Musto skiff had won, and then it looked like maybe it was Wade and Valentine again in the 420. Maybe they had won, and then some scoring queries. Really, really close on the tie-break between those three. But in the end, it was Ben McGrain and James Ross who won the King George Gallop in an Osprey. And Ben McGrain, absolutely great sailor, won this series before, crewing in a 505 for Roger Gilbert a couple of seasons ago. So really, really close. But the King George Gallop, again, put on a fantastic event this year.
Right, okay, so moving on to the Top Lady Award. Again, 63 entries as held, but actually numerous crews. Be good to sort of get to parity on there, but numbers are again increasing. So third was Val Millard in the Challenger from Rutland Sailing Club. Second was Ellie Craig in the RS Aero 6 from Bassenthwaite. And first was Imogen Wade, well, with Hugo, but that's still Top Lady. Well done. Okay. So
Might as well just stay here.
okay, so moving on to round 7, the John Merrick's Tiger Trophy.
Yeah, the Tiger Trophy, and well, it was a pretty big one. Dave Wilkins has been running it for more years than I can remember. It was the first one that, in 20 years of it, I think Dave Hall and Paul Constable in their Fireball weren't able to attend. They've supported every single one, but they were out in Australia looking to try and win the Fireball Worlds. They did actually manage to win the warm-up regatta in a borrowed boat because their boats never arrived in a container. In fact, I think Tom Gillard actually managed to win the Fireball Worlds in a borrowed boat, because I don't think he ever managed to get in his. Anyways, sad not to see Hall and Constable at the Tiger Trophy, but we had 106 entries from 41 different classes that did turn out. And David, I remember you saying Saturday was probably one of the best days we've ever seen for the Tiger Trophy. Good medium air conditions, pretty mild, really solid racing. Everyone back ashore in time to watch the Six Nations rugby in the evening and enjoy the bangers and mash for the evening dinner. And then it was a gnarly Sunday pursuit race, really, really breezy. But he was there, so of course he had to win. It was Sam Pascoe in the Musto skiff, followed by a 420 from Pathelli. That's Arwen Fleur and Matthew Rayner. They won the pursuit race in the really breezy stuff. And it was Dan Vincent who just missed out on winning the King George Gallop, where he was third in his Musto skiff. A really, really strong trapeze boat benefit. The top 11 boats were all high performance classes, and it was actually Dave Wade and Ben Rayner in the Scorpion from Draycott Water. They were the first non-trapeze boats, so that was one for the fast boats.
Okay, so moving on to Great Lakes handicapping, and pleased to see Andrew Craig and some of the other groups here. Handicapping is obviously the key to this, and I think Andrew and his group, was it 15 years ago, Andrew? Started really turning handicaps up and giving us some fantastic numbers.
Do you want to come up and chat about it, Andrew? We'd like to get you up. Let's give a big round of applause to Andrew Craig. Yeah, let's get Andrew. Yes, I know you want to give credit to other people in the Great Lakes group. So, just who are they?
Yes. Oh gosh, that's going to put me on the spot. We've got David Wilkins here. We've got Richard Botting. We've got Bob Carter, who is our cat specialist, and we've got Keith Eskrit, who represents the Northern Sailing.
Now, I know this is old news to you and me, Andrew, but sometimes even the best ideas still take a while to percolate through. So what was the impetus and the motivation for forming the Great Lakes group in the first place?
Well, I think the impetus was that, particularly at the Bloody Mary, we noticed that some boats, like the Laser, they never got anywhere. We just did an analysis, and it was just not right that some boats didn't, even if they were helmed well. But of course, it wasn't a very attractive series, so we didn't have many Lasers out at that stage. But there were also other classes that were legendary. If you were in an International 14, if you were in a Phantom, a Merlin, then it was easy cherry picking. So we did a bit of analysis for a couple of years without publishing numbers, and then we started moving them. And when we made our first move, it was a big move. And if you follow the forums on yachts and yachting, it was not a popular move with many people. But gradually people saw, actually, this is beginning to work. This is producing very good competition. You mention often the number of classes in the top 10, top 20. I look at the configurations in particular. You've been talking about whether you're in a single-hander, a double-hander, a spinnaker, no spinnaker, one trapeze, two trapeze. You now stand really an equal chance of winning any of these events and the series if you're a good sailor.
Right, okay, well, thank you, Andrew. And we don't stand still. So on the 26th of March, we're running a handicap forum where really anyone who's interested in data and big data, and that's obviously becoming important in our lives, are welcome to join Andrew and the team to share ideas and look at really what the future is. And I think the future is exciting. Round 8, Oxford Blue.
Yes, we must talk about the Oxford Blue. It was only last Saturday, just a week ago. And, well, surely our good run of breeze wasn't going to last all the way through. But actually, it did. It was another really fantastic day, absolutely fantastically run by Oxford Sailing Club, David Orton and his team. We were on the water for the first start at 11 o'clock, 3 back-to-back races, and we were off the water by 2 o'clock. And the breeze was clicking around anywhere between probably 6 and 18 knots, super gusty. I managed to get a clean sweep of 1 capsize in each of the 3 races in my Musto skiff. Thank you very much. But even the undefeatable, invincible Sam Pascoe didn't manage to win on this occasion, and it was actually Luke Fisher in the RS Vario who managed to win this one. So congratulations to him. And it was a former series winner, Matt Mee, in a GP14 with Chris Robinson, who was second. But of course, Sam Pascoe couldn't be fully elbowed off the podium. He was still third in the Musto skiff. And it was great to see other boats there, like Sam Whaley, the Olympic campaigner, out of his Ilka 7 and into a Wasp, racing on a handicap of 500. And I mean, who knows, maybe one day someone will win at that, but Andrew Craig and the team at the Great Lakes will be analysing those numbers. It's a very dynamic system, and we hear that some classes are a bit miffed about the number that they've got, so they decide to stay away as a boycott, which, okay, I can understand it, but actually please do get back involved, prove that you're at the back of the fleet, and then we'll give you a different number, or they will. I'm not involved in it, but please, if you think you've got an unfair number, just go through the short-term pain, show us that the number is wrong, and then the Great Lakes will reconsider the handicap number and maybe give you a better number for the following season. So please do bear that in mind. Anyway,
Right.
that was the end of the season. 8 fantastic events.
Okay, so, sorry, I've got muddled in. One of the themes that we've seen, we've mentioned Matt Mee, he was there training for the GP14 Worlds coming, the Mustos there training, so a lot of people are using these events as training. So we've been thinking about how can we sort of build on that. And I'm pleased to welcome back Simon. I see Katie there, Horsfield, 3 times winner, who's going to come and help us.
Simon, great to see you back. You with Katie won this series 3 on the trot in the 2000. You've stayed away a couple of years, given other people a chance. And now you're coming back, but it sounds like you might be coming back in a different role. So what are you thinking about?
Yeah, so that's right. So we're going to come back and support, I'm going to come back and support with coaching. So going to do some pre-event briefing online, going to be there at the venue, taking some video, in and around the dinghy park, giving us advice really, and just spreading it as a coach and as a racer. I want to help people if I can, so I'll be around to support them really, and when perhaps a little bit of post-race analysis as well.
And what's your day job? Just give us some context.
So I'm a Royal Navy sailing manager is my day job, and a part-time freelance coach.
Okay. If there was one little tip that you could give now for this style of racing, what's one thing that really worked for you and Katie to win 3 back-to-back series?
The absolute secret to winning this competition is to sail the course, not the competitors. So how can you avoid the traffic? You just sail your own race. You've got to get around the 4 boys. How do you do it effectively? And if it's a pursuit race, it's exactly the same strategy.
So it's a race against the clock. You forget the other competitors as much as possible.
Yeah, I think people get bogged down with the fact that we're going to look at, there's 10 aeros, so let's race the aeros. It's not about that. It's about forgetting where you are, ups and downs on the shifts, just sail the boat fast, and you'll be successful.
And you didn't get a lot of coaching when you were coming through and when you were growing up. What do you think input from someone like you, how could that make a difference?
I really wish I had the opportunity to be coached as a child. It wasn't a thing, so I was sort of like self-taught. So for me, I really wish I had the opportunity. So I think it's fantastic. And me personally, I would love to get coached now. So I think coaching always, you can't see it from in the boat. Sat in a rib, you can see everything. So I think it's fantastic, and I hope I can support people with that.
And how has the racing during the Winter Series, how has that impacted on your skills and your results during the summer?
I think it just, you sail all year round, and you finish the championships in October, what do? Well, you come and join the 100 boat fleets in the Sailjuice Series against some of the great sailors we've got in the country. And it keeps you sharp, fit, and what a great place to spend your winters in 35 knots at the Tiger Trophy or at the Bloody Mary. Well, fantastic. So.
Well, it's one thing to race it, another thing to coach it. No one's done that yet, so you'll be the first. And Simon, it would be fantastic to have you there providing that support. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Andy.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
So thank you, Simon. And that actually segues into the next sort of thing. We're creating some new rankings. Now, what we've realised, like the RNSI, the RAFSA, all that sort of services and forces, there's a big sort of presence of these people sailing. So we've been talking and working with that group, and we're going to set up a, Forces Challenge, Blue Light sort of group to really give extractive results based around those. And I think I saw Mike out there. So if you're interested in getting involved, come and see us. Right, sorry, we're moving ahead a bit. So looking at other ranking, other initiatives. So we've seen an influx of old boats, and it was good to see the Norfolk Punt, a 65-year-old boat from Edward and Alex from Norfolk Broads. I don't know, are they here? Oh, there you are. So they win our oldest boat prize. And great to see them out there. And what we've realised is we want to encourage the old boats out there. So Andy and I are going to be doing some work trying to encourage there. We've been working with the trade. I'm already pleased to announce that Marlow Ropes and Ovington have agreed to support us with prizes for the old boats. And we look to the trade, Andy, to come and help us.
Yes, the elephant in the room, it's been sitting in the corner of the room for so long, maybe we've forgotten it's there, but how many boats do we have sitting under mossy covers all around the country, and perfectly good hardware, maybe not quite enough to win a championship, maybe not even good enough to come top 10 in a championship, but probably in the right hands could probably finish somewhere close to the top 10. But those boats are virtually worthless as they stand at the moment. What if we can find a way of actually breathing new life into those old boats, a bit like the guys have done with the 65-year-old Norfolk Punt? I was going to ask their ages, actually. How old are you guys? 17 and... suppose 17, 34.
70, okay.
So their combined ages don't even add up to pretty much half of the age of the Norfolk Punt. So it's sort of thinking out loud, I'm thinking young sailors, old boats, something like that. I mean, we need more young sailors and we need more old boats out on the water, in my view. And when we've floated this idea before, for those boats that barely float, people seem to think that it's a good idea, but who's actually going to make it happen? Well, we're going to try and make it happen. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I think kicked off by what Andrew Craig and the Great Lakes have achieved already with their handicapping, and also what Simon does with the various forms of data analysis that he uses, including his own Sail Racer GPS tracking. It is possible to come up with more bespoke, more customized rankings for older boats, and that's what we're looking to do. And that's partly why, Richard, you said that you were going to renew your sponsorship by Seldén for a 6th year for this series, partly because of what we're doing with grassroots. Have you got anything you want to say about that particularly? Or? Yeah, all right. Well, we really appreciate it, Richard. It's really nice to have a sponsor who's not just about sticking masts in brand new boats. It's about supporting the sport across the board and putting more back into the grassroots. So I just want to say thank you very much to you, Richard, and to Steve and everyone at Seldén for that.
Okay, so not long to go. We're now into the business end, as they say. So the top 10. So in 10th place, it was the big National 18 with Oliver Houseman, Steve Watton and Jeremy Vines. Okay. In 9th place, we've heard these mentioned before, Ben Whaley, Lorna Glenn in the RS 200 from Parkstone.
I'm just going to say, I was rude enough to ask Jeremy his age last weekend. I don't know if I'm allowed to share it, but 86 years old, sailing a high-performance boat. And I don't know who our youngest was, Simon. Was it 9? Was it Jess?
It was the Jessica in the Miracle. You might have seen a Miracle appeared at Tiger Trophy, and then she enjoyed it so much, she came all the way from Filey to Oxford. So fantastic. 9-year-old helming at times in the Miracle.
So 9, yeah, last weekend, in fact, we had ages 9 to 86 represented.
Okay, so in 8th place, it was Ellie Craig in the RS Aero 6 from Bassenthwaite. Okay, I don't think Ellie's here. So 7th place, Jamie Blake in the Ilka 7 from Great Moor. Okay, in 6th place, winner of the Oxford Blue, second in previous years, was Luke Fishers in the RS Vario from Emperton Park. Okay, in 5th place, they came so close to winning the King George Gallop, Imogen Wade and Hugo Valentine in the 420 from Draycott Water. Okay, in 4th place, again tied at King George, was Dan Vincent in the Musto Skiff, Stokes Bay and RNSA. Okay, in 3rd place, and thanks Sam for some of your on-board footage, I think Sam Barker is here in the Musto Skiff from Castle Cove. Here he comes. So in 2nd place, Ben Flowers, the runner-up last year, he so nearly won but couldn't make the Oxford Blue in the Ilka 7 from Paynton. I don't think he's here. And the winner, no surprises, is Sam Pascoe from Castle Cove in the Musto Skiff.
Well, so we got Megan.
Got the better.
So this is Sam's sister, Megan Pascoe. And Sam, I understand, is at a wedding today that he really, really wanted to wriggle out of but couldn't. So
yeah, he was trying to work out how to get the train and get to London on time, but thought he might get divorced if he did that. So he is fully under the thumb, but he was lucky to get out for the 6 events he did, and really loves sailing the Musto, loves working for Robbie. And yeah, I think it's something that he really sort of, I think winning the Bloody Mary was one of those things that he's sort of like, it's been going for so long that it's part of history. And you look at the names of that trophy and it's just phenomenal. So yeah, thanks to Seldén and thanks to Sailjuice for running it. And I'm sure he's be back next year.
yeah, we've heard the promise, but will he be able to compete on whatever number he's given by the Great Lakes? We'll have to see. And I understand the RYA number's already published, and I think the Musto Skiff is down 8 in the charts, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Sam Pascoe and Sam Barker and Dan Vincent and all the other top Musto Skiff sailors next season, but that's as it should be. I would also say that this was a very windy series, and I don't think the trapeze sailors bent their legs all season. So, so it was.
So
it
we've
was
got
maybe
a quick interview. Can we have the audio off the computer? Andy was able to catch up with Sam at Oxford.
Sam Pascoe, you've won the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series. It's been a while coming because you've absolutely dominated, but now it's confirmed. So congratulations. What was the moment where you felt like this might be going your way? Because you just kept on winning event after event.
After the first couple of events, it was all sort of lining up quite well. So, yeah, it's been, and the rest kept coming.
Yeah, yeah. And today at the Oxford Blue, actually, this is one that you didn't quite manage to win. You were third here, and Luke Fisher in the Vario winning here. So I'm thinking that even on the ones that you won, it was only by a matter of seconds in each of the races. It looks like a dominant performance across the season, but everything is by feet and inches and seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the beauty of handicap racing. It can only be a few seconds, but you still get your bullet on the board. So.
And what's brought you out to do this? Why have you and Sam Barker been so keen to do all the events this season?
It sort of lined up last year. We nearly won the Tiger Trophy and nearly won the Bloody Mary, so it kind of worked out. Must have had a good handicap and to see what we could do this year.
Right, and I suspect that's going to put you in a pretty good place for the start of the spring season, for the open meetings, and ultimately the World Championship in the Musto Skiffs in Weymouth, where you live, which you haven't quite won yet. You came close last year, but I'm thinking this training over the winter must help, doesn't it?
Yeah. I went for a play in Weymouth the other day, and boat handling was all nice and sharp, so should be in a good place for the Ovie Inlands in a month's time and in March at Graffham. And
we're used to our Windward Lewards. What's it like taking a Musto skiff around all these crazy courses that we do here with all the traffic that we have?
It certainly made life interesting. We learned a few techniques and a longer main sheet and a few other things, and we had a great time with it. It's certainly never a dull moment getting it down those reaches.
Well, Sam, you're taking it to a new level. Congratulations.
Cheers.
And good luck with the season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's what I love about this series. It brings out the best of everything that we've got in UK dinghy racing. There's no show like this anywhere else in the rest of the world. The RYA Dinghy Show is unique, and the rest of the world is quite envious of that. And I don't believe we've got as diverse a dinghy racing circuit as we see with the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series. So give yourself a big round of applause. Have a great 2024, and we'll see you again this time next year here at the Dinghy Show. Thank you.